Damn! What a shot! That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us. Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
It's like a loop machine. Going around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for all those who's listening and watching it from around the world. And we are now live from the corner of Dalton and Lynch Street. It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the Pregame with your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready, because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the Pregame.
And
Dancing. Almost got caught. Keep dancing.
Almost got caught. Welcome into the pregame show here on the Black College Sports Network. Neely and Bishop coming to you live from the Athletic and Assembly Center as our Jackson State Tigers get ready to take on the Alcorn State Braves down in Alcorn today, taking on the rival. Neely, what's going on, brother?
Man, it's all good, brother. Like you said, we are both here live at the AAC. You're in that historic trophy room. I think that's Walter Payton's locker behind you. I'm down on the court right off the block. Hey, we're here, baby. The Lady Tigers and the Tigers are down the street in Lorman, Mississippi, down on the reservation, the plantation, a.k.a. Opt-Out U, all those nicknames we throw at them. Lady Tigers are looking to get that sweep, and the men are looking to break even because, we opened up the season here at the AAC with Alcorn, and Alcorn Braves were able to get out of here with the victory against the men. Men are on a roll right now, 4 games in a row, I think it is. We've won. So down there on the reservation trying to make it 5.
Yeah, as we take a look at it, our women's team, 15-6 on the season, a perfect 13-0 in conference play thus far. Alcorn Lady Braves, they come into this game 2-18 on the season, 1-12 overall. But I tell you what, you had a great talk. You had an opportunity to talk with Coach Tamika Reed in terms of what her expectations were going into the second half of the season and her observations in regards to the Jackson State women's basketball team, Neil.
Yeah, we hit on a myriad of subjects, and we're going to play that interview here for you today live on the pregame show. It was recorded after a recent home game. But, Coach Reed has always said she does not coach the scoreboard. She coaches the game, and you're going to get some insight into her philosophies and how she's been able to manage a team and keep them dominant, because it's so easy when you are undefeated in conference play to let off the throttle, to become a little complacent. And that's one thing that she does not want to happen as they are now on this historic run. Historic because on the last victory, that meant 13 SWAC wins in a row. The first time in program history the Lady Tigers have rattled off 13 conference wins in a row. So it was a big win and a big deal, and they hope to keep that streak going, Chuck.
Hope to keep that streak going. And when you talk about Jackson State versus Alcorn, of course, you and I, we remember from our childhoods, those great Shirley Walker versus Sadie McGee days, taking a look. So this will be a rivalry like none other. But, Coach Reed, she talked about this next stretch of games for our Jackson State women, how, it's going to be a tough road after the Alcorn rival game. Then you do the Texas two-step. And I don't know, if you've never been to Houston, never been to Prairie View and played in that Baby Dome, I tell you what, the fans, it is a throwback sort of arena where those fans are sitting down on top of you. Always a very tough place to play. We'll get into it when we preview that game. But I tell you what, this is a very important stretch of games here for our women's basketball team.
It is, Chuck. We have 5 games left in the regular season in the conference play, if you will. We got 3 on the road. We go to Alcorn today, then make that Texas swing. Then we're back home the first week of March, a rare Thursday game against UAPB on Thursday, March 3rd, and then close out the regular season Saturday, March 5th versus Valley here in the AAC. But before that, we got these 3 big games on the road, 3 tough games on the road. 3 games going against teams who are starting to peak and catch up to us, if you will. And that's one of the things Coach Reed spoke about. So it's going to be interesting for the Lady Tigers these next 3 games before they come back to the AAC.
No doubt. Well, let's take a look at what Coach Reed had to say in regards to their performance in these next 3 games coming up.
It was good. I didn't tell the players before the game because I always want them to come out and just play genuinely hard, not to overdo anything. But I think they kind of already knew because we had talked about it a while ago. They asked what was the winning streak. And so I was just really proud that they came out and walked away with the victory. Although we played bad basketball, no energy, we still beat our opponents by 19. So I'm very, very proud of them for making history. Well, as proud as I am of them, it's still never good enough. Because we have so many flat moments. And I told them we have not played a full 40-minute championship level type of game yet. And so that's how I keep them hungry. We gotta be great every possession. And if we're not, we're looking at those possessions, in the next day in practice. We're looking at where we gotta get better. And so we don't want to cause them to be complacent in any regards. We want them to always go hard, always seek to get better. And when now that we are number 1 in those spots, we want to maintain that. So like tonight, we gave up almost 38% from the 3-point line. Well, we've been holding opponents to 35%. Well, that's measurable. So now we have to hold them accountable. And so when you hold them accountable for something that we're supposed to do, when they don't do it, that keeps them short. It was simple. We talked about the rankings, where we are right now, where Bethune is right now, and the fact that it does not matter. What matters is who's going to play the hardest. And at that moment, Bethune was playing harder than we were. And so I just told the players, listen, you have to understand, we have things that we have to go get, things we have to do, things that we have to accomplish. And so we just told the players they had to get with it. And it started on the defensive end. We had to sit down and defend. All teams that we're playing right now are playing 5 guards. So it's making Amisha Williams sit down and defend at the perimeter. It's making our post player, our 4 players, LaMiracle and Deja Woodard, sit down and defend on the perimeter. And so I'm happy because, now they're getting better defensively, but we got to keep them being exposed. So I just told them they got to stay. If they want to win this game, you have to do something that we hadn't been doing. That's defend the 3-point line, and that's to rebound the ball, because Bethune was right there with us in the first half and rebounding the ball. And, stop letting them get into the paint. They had 14 paint points and not a post player on the floor in first half. So we had to stop all of that. And so we just challenged our players. No paint touches for Bethune, and crash the boards, dominate the boards this half. And they came out and answered. Well, that's a good question. I talked to the team tonight and I said, hey, these teams that we're playing the second time around are getting better. It's obvious. We beat one team by 35, we beat the other team by 55, and now it's like right there in 19-20 range. They're getting better. What is that saying about us? Are we getting better or are we being complacent? And I said, my answer is we're being complacent. We have no energy, we have no effort. And in order for us to finish strong, we have to play with energy, effort, and remove the complacency. And so we just gotta come on with it. You know, they gotta dig deep, they gotta play hard, they gotta want it more than anything. They gotta understand nobody's gonna lay down and give it to us, especially at Alcorn and especially in Texas. We got 3 tough games ahead of us, and so we're really trying to get the players mentally prepared. I love my babies, and I love when I put them all on the floor at the same time. And the task is never easy for them. They understand, even though we're up 20, 25, 30 points, you still have responsibilities. And we challenge them when they hit the floor. You know, the opponents, when you get on the floor, they can't score more than 6 points. You know, and to see them really try to dig deep and for that to happen is a great feeling, because now if I can see them fighting for me now, I know they're gonna fight for me later on in their career. And they're just getting better and better. Every day they're getting better. From the minutes they playing in the game and from the minutes that they're competing on the floor against Amisha, against Deja Rogan, they're getting better every day. So I'm excited for their future. At the end of the day, we're not gonna leave any doubt. Whatever you think it is or whatever you think it was, that's what it's gonna be.
Whatever you think it is, whatever you think it was, that's what it's gonna be. Great insight from Coach Tamika Reed.
Hey, Chuck, is what it is. I think Rick Flash said, whether you hate it or love it, sit down and look at it, because it's the best thing going today.
There it is. Woo! You got to finish with a woo. I tell you what, she talked about a myriad of things, but what really stuck out to me in listening to that interview was the fact that she mentioned that teams have sort of closed that gap just a little bit from when we played them initially. So our team has to really stay on their toes, stay on their guards, because teams are going to be coming at them night in, night out.
I loved what Coach Reed said about that. But here's something that she also said. She says, you know, we were beating these folks by 30, 35 points. Now we're only beating them by 19.
How about that, right? How's that for dominance?
But the spirit of what she's saying is spot on. You know, when you come out the gates hot like we have and having such dominant performances against other teams, by the time you get to that second round of playing them, because you got a home and home deal with conference play, by the time you get to match up with them again, either they have gotten better or you have gotten complacent. And she's concerned about the complacency, that it is so easy for us to dominate, that we're taking plays off and not hustling to the ball and not doing the little things that we should do, such as finishing layups after turnovers. Those kind of bugaboo things can really derail you when you get to the tournament, and it only takes one game for somebody to be on and one game for you to be off. So she's concerned about that, rightly so, Chuck. 5 games left in the season with these 3 on the road, and she wants to make sure that with these 3 road games, Alcorn today, going to Texas for Prairie View and Texas Southern the following week before we get back home against UAPB and Valley to close it out. She wants to make sure there's no complacency. She wants to make sure there's no drop-off in efficiency and effort, because we got to continue to be the dominant team that we can be each of the 4 quarters of women's play.
We have to continue to be the dominant team in each of the 4 quarters. You speak of dominance. Player of the week this past week, Amisha Williams-Holiday. She had 2 double-double performances this past week, averaging 28.5 points per game, shooting 39% from the field against FAMU, Neely. 33 points, 11 rebounds. She follows that up, bookends that against Bethune-Cookman, going for 24 points and 13 rebounds, 6 blocks, 2 assists, and a steal. Amisha Williams-Holiday is the focal point of this offense, and she is really just getting it done.
Well, that's why I am where I am, not just in the AAC, but I am in Amisha's home. I'm standing in the paint, Chuck. Like this, remember MTV Cribs, and they would take you to the bedroom and say, this is where the magic happens? Well, in the AAC, down here in the post, this is where the magic happens. This is where she's getting those offensive and defensive rebounds. This is where she's blocking those shots. This is where she's scoring from. So you're right here, this 33 points and 11 rebounds. Those kind of performances are taking place down low. So here's the opportunity for teams to stop that. Basketball is about what happens in transition, and it's also about style of play. So as Coach Reed said, you're going to see teams in this last stretch and in the tournament They're going to do like the Detroit Pistons of old and go small ball, have 3 guards on the floor, sometimes 4, even 5 guards on the floor, because it forces a big out of their comfort zone to go out here and guard the perimeter, to go out here and guard a 3-point shot instead of sagging back and doing what you do best. So you're going to see teams start to work that shot clock. They're not going to be in a hurry to shoot in the first 5 or 10 seconds. They're going to let it get down to 7 or less before they take a shot. You're going to also see them keep smalls on the floor to make our bigs, because we're long outside of Amisha. Crump is long. Woodard is long. We got some long players, but you're going to come out on the perimeter and play defense instead of dominate this paint and get all of these rebounds, which leads to second chance points on offense, fast break outlet passes on defense.
Well, I was just about to say, you juxtapose that on the offensive side of the ball. And this is a stat line that I always look at with regards to this Jackson State women's basketball team. Offensive rebounds, second chance points. When teams go small ball, that really gives us an opportunity on the offensive side of the ball to really beat them up on the boards.
You know, Chuck, man, here's the problem. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Tenfold.
If you put out a center and 2 forwards and 2 guards, we're going to dominate you. You know, if you put out small ball and if you don't make the shots, we're going to dominate the glass. Like, you just got to pick your poison against this team. No one in the SWAC can do what we do on the level that we do it. So your only opportunity for success is to juxtapose that and throw something at us that makes us play a different style, such as having to guard guards or having to play defense a full, 30, 35 seconds before a shot goes up. Those are your only opportunities, because you heard Coach Reed, we're beating people by 30 and then on the off night beating them by 19. The key is this, though. These teams are D1 athletes, scholarship athletes we have. That's why you see the game so close in the first 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6, 7 minutes, because their stamina and wheel is just as strong as ours. By the time these get into that second quarter, let alone after halftime, with our depth and our length and what we do best, we just take the heart out of people. And that's when you see those double digits. So what Coach Reed is concerned about, if somebody's hanging around in the first quarter, I think there's been once this year that somebody had to lead at the end of the first quarter, and been once this year that somebody had to lead at halftime. Other than that, we've been dominant, but you don't want to give these folks hope. You don't want to get to the tournament and have someone getting foul trouble and have to sit, and it changes the composition of what you do best. So I still think for teams to succeed these last 5 games, they got to hit us with the kitchen sink. They got to come with everything. If you roll your best 5 out, we roll our best 5 out, it's an 18-point victory minimum. If you do things different, like make us have to guard the perimeter and run around a little more, make extra passes, playing defense, eating all that clock, it changes the dynamic of what we do best. And that's your only chance. I don't think it works as far as getting to a victory. I do think it's your only chance to get to victory.
No doubt. And you know what? Coach Reed hit on it in terms of playing these teams the second go around. And I'll never forget Coach Covington. He said it at a basketball camp once. But when I get an opportunity to see you the second time, I know what you're trying to do the second go around. So we'll have to take a look and see what these teams are trying to do to combat our length. And our ability to get to the rim and rebound on these last 5 games, which will be tough. Again, mentioned today, rival game versus Alcorn, but then you could do the Texas 2-step. They have 2 prolific scorers. Texas Southern, Ataya Bridges is one of the top 5 scorers in the league. And then you have Diana Rosenthal for Prairie, who's also one of the top scorers in the league. So this next stretch of games is really going to prove our Lady Tigers' mettle going into the tournament.
I'm going to date myself here, Chuck. Every time I hear the name Rosenthal, I think about the first Muppet movie when Kermit he was and had the mustache on, was an accountant named Rosenthal. And Miss Piggy would say, Rosenthal? Hey, you
can always count on a Muppet reference somewhere.
I don't know how they didn't get an Oscar for that. I don't know how the Muppet movie didn't get an Oscar. We're going to be ready for Rosenthal. Whether it's Kermit the Frog or their star player. We're going to do the things defensively, give them some different looks again. Got our full lineup back. Deja Rogan is back out the boot. Played well the past 2 games that she's been back. Now she's back on the road. I like our odds, Chuck. I like our odds. The Tigers are going back into that gauntlet, if you will, these next 3 games. 2 of those games were the ones that we knew if anybody can get us, it's those 2. Same thing with, Southern or Grambling. Once you make it through certain teams, then you're just kind of sitting pretty, controlling your own destiny. So we are still just as poised right now to go undefeated in the SWAC. to win the regular season, the conference championship. But, everything is about the tournament.
Everything's about tournament. Yeah.
You want to build peak, and not get caught slipping on that one day that someone has just that one opportunity that they got to be better for you that one afternoon and to knock you out. So we're peaking at the right time. It's hard to imagine a team that's undefeated still peaking, but we have yet to play our best basketball for 4 full quarters on the women's side.
Great point, man. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about the men. The men heading down to the reservation to take on the Alcorn Braves. Jackson State comes into this game 8-16 overall, 6-7 in the SWAC. The Alcorn State Braves 10-15 overall, but 9-4, third in the SWAC. They have honestly been one of the surprise teams in the SWAC. They announced themselves with that victory over Jackson State to start SWAC play 65-50, and they've been playing some good basketball in terms of taking a look at what they've been doing on the offensive, defensive side of the ball. They are a conundrum of a team. You don't see a lot of guys within the leaders, but they get it done defensively. They get it. They're right in the middle of the pack on a lot of statistics. Just a good overall basketball team.
Just you said it best right there, Chuck. Just a good overall basketball team. I don't think they're great at one particular thing, but they're good at about 5 things. And this was a season, where everyone expected either Texas Southern or Southern to just dominate the SWAC. But what has unveiled itself is that on any given night, everybody has an opportunity. Valley can beat the number one team in the SWAC. And these people in the middle of the pack or lower are really just as good on a 2-game basis as they are the guys who are in the top 3. So yes, Alcorn came in here on opening night, SWAC night, conference play kicking off, and they got us. But this is a much different Jackson State team than that night. This team is not just solely relying on J Mack, who's that instant double-double. They've been forced, whether it was foul trouble or ankle injury, to learn how to play and dominate without him. And that's what you've seen happen these past 3 and 4 games. And since I'm here in the home of Amisha, as we talked about the ladies, let me switch to where it's going to focus on for the men. And I'm going to go up here to the top of the key, if you will, Chuck, because I think this is going to come down to guard play. What we have to facilitate. Our guards have to get people involved. And if people are not knocking down those open shots, where do we need to go? We need to take it to the basket. Get them in. Take it to the basket. We need to aggressively attack the basket. It builds confidence in the shot, getting those layups. Worst case, you get fouled and you go to the line, also getting that rhythm in place. So I'm looking for a big spark from Jonas James. I'm looking for a big spark from T. Lou, down there in the block, because he's kind of been doing it all. And we just still need that third guy who's going to come and get me another 8 to 12 points on this team.
You mentioned T. Lou. He's been averaging 13 points and 8 rebounds over the last 10 games. This last game against Bethune-Cookman, you asked who might be that third scorer. Let's take a look at Kenny Evans, 22 points against Bethune-Cookman in that huge 71-51 victory. We know our Jackson State basketball team plays tremendous defense, second in the SWAC in terms of overall defense. It's the scoring part. And if we can get that part up and rolling, we've won 4 in a row now. Very impressive wins over Florida A&M, who had one of the top scorers in the league, and MJ Randolph was able to hold him under double digits. And then you backdoor that with an impressive victory over a Bethune-Cookman team that knocked you off down there in Daytona.
Man, you put that politely. We didn't hold them under double digits. We shut them down. That was in the SWAC that's, getting out of bed and getting you 25, I think averaging about 19.5, held up to 8 points when he came to the AAC. Our defense is stifling. Wayne Brent has built his career on being conditioned and playing defense. And so we have always, this entire season, just about every game, save 1 or 2, we've held our opponent under their season scoring average. Our problem is, how do we get 58 to 64 points? We can hold people to 55 and 58, but how do we consistently get us 60, 61, 64? We got 71 the other night, and I called it that the Randy Orton game, because out of nowhere, here comes number 4 with like RKO and just knocking down threes and stretching the floor and changing the offensive dynamic. And so that's what you're looking for. You're looking down the bench like, who's going to be my third guy tonight? Who's going to be that the other team really hasn't scouted or considered or factor in, that's going to get some confidence going early. Mal tried it, a couple of games before, took some big 3-point shots, like, almost like heat check. Let me see if I got it. And they didn't fall. But someone else comes in off the bench and they're shooting. So if we can get that going down on the reservation, I say it, and always 3 times for the mojo. I like our odds. I like our odds. I like our odds. We have talked all season long on the pregame show about the 3 seasons in SWAC basketball. Non-conference play November, December. Conference play January. And you want to get ready for the tournament by peaking mid-February to March. And the Tigers have done just that. It was a lot of flower bringing and hand wringing in January. Woe is me. What are we going to do with this program? But lo and behold, here we are in the middle of February, running off 4 games in a row. And the SWAC basketball season is all about peaking in February, all about playing your best basketball going into March. And you couldn't ask for a better turnaround than the 4 in a row we've gotten to do just that.
Won 4 in a row, just like our women getting ready to embark upon this road stretch all corner day. Texas two-step, Texas Southern, and Prairie View. Of course, we knocked off Texas Southern and Prairie View when they came to Jackson. Jackson State, over the last 10 games, we've gone 6-4, averaging 63.8 points per game, 36 rebounds. Really been hitting the boards pretty tough. 10.5 assists, 5.8 steals, almost 6 steals a game. So I think that has played into that 4-game win streak in terms of able to turn teams over a little bit and get that scoring average up. It was something that you talked about earlier this season, Neil, in terms of doing that.
I mean, you nailed it when you said averaging 63 points a game. Last time I checked, more than 60. And we just about have to score 60 points to win. It just is what it is. You know, we can hold people to 58 less, but we got to get 60. And it's even better. We get a game like the other night where you get 71. But the magic number is 60 to 63 points. We get that, play our style of ball, we can hold people back. A lot of people are concerned when had to miss some games, but I think this team grew up during that phase because I think it players to say, you remember that movie Chuck Moneyball?
I do.
It wasn't about replacing Jason Giambi. It was about replacing his numbers. And some do that with 3 or 4 other people. And so, yeah, J Mack gets you 12 boards and he gets you, 15 points. But all you need is 5 other people to score 3 more points than they normally score, to get you 3 more rebounds than they normally get. And you have replaced mathematically that entity. You may not replace the court leadership and the talent on the floor, but you replace the number. And I think that's what you saw happen. At least 3, if not 2 of these past 4 games, guys have stepped up and we've mathematically replaced our best player while he was down with an injury.
Hey, that's a tremendous reference when you make the analogy with Moneyball, because that's exactly what it is. You're replacing those numbers, and we've been able to do that over the past 4 games. Had a great opportunity to speak with Mal Whiteman before they boarded the team bus. He's looking forward to getting down on the reservation. He's looking to have a big game tonight. So. Yeah,
good stuff, man. He didn't shake your hand, did he? Because I know sometimes you like schlepped rock on the Flint. So wowsy, woo-woo, Hey, Chuck, I'm always you remember Slap Rock.
I do remember Slap Rock, man.
Party jumping, Pebbles is over there looking good. Slap Rock go to the jukebox and put a quarter in the whole damn time. Party.
Man, this is anniversary weekend, man. This has been a year of laughs and bringing so much Jackson State content to our fans, man. I tell you what.
Man, you're exactly right, Chuck. Monday will actually be the day, but we were at Memorial Stadium on Saturday, February 21st, and it was the first pregame show live where we did a show not only live with guests, but it was right before kickoff. And man, it has been a wonderful year in JSU athletics, working with my man Charles Bishop and giving him the business live on the year, because you never know what it's going to be. I
never know.
But man, what a year it's been, Chuck. Hey, Chuck, give me some of your moments, man. What are you looking back on this past year? And I know we're gonna do some more stuff in the weeks to come and really celebrate this anniversary. But just off the cuff, what are some? Man,
I tell you, off the cuff, it's been a lot of people that we've talked to, a lot of great interviews. Killian Wallow comes to mind. Troy Aikman comes to mind, of course. Coach Prime down at Alabama A&M, looking at the scoreboard at halftime. That popped in my head immediately. So the raising of the SWAC championship trophy, I tell you, it has been a myriad of just great moments during this year, man. It's been fun doing it.
Yeah, I agree with those, man. I think that first sit down in April, when that Prairie View game got canceled in the spring season, that first sit down with Coach Prime in his office, that 2-part series we did, really got the fans to know him a little better, his mindset. Moments like T.O. in Miami, like you said, Gilly and Wallow, those halftime or post-game interviews with Coach Prime, including the first one, which the anniversary of that is part of our anniversary. And that was one of the nights, man, where I think Coach Prime and I were on the phone about an hour. Like it was a line of demarcation in our relationship, friendship / brotherhood when we talked that night. But there's been some great moments this past year. But, just like you, Chuck, at Murr's prom, man, you never forget your first. So I gotta go. I couldn't hold it in. So just like you at Murr's prom, you get your first. I got to go with Troy Aikman, man, because that was literally the first interview that we did right there at Memorial Stadium. Interviewed him live on the air for Tiger Nation. And since we're approaching the anniversary, man, Roy has that queued up. Let's go to the first ever interview on the pregame show during the pregame with Bishop and Neely sitting down with Troy Aikman.
Super Bowl champion Troy Aikman here with us. Thank you for joining us.
You bet.
I really appreciate it. Troy, you came in to catch this game today. Talk a little bit about what it means to catch your old teammate, Deion Sanders.
Yeah, I was sure proud of Deion when he decided to take this job on, and I just think it validates all that he's done over the years with the kids and the high school level that he's coached, and to kind of put himself out here at Jackson State was really impressive to me, and I've told him that. And I think he's going to do a great job. And so when I found out the games, I didn't realize that they were playing in the spring. I thought the games, were canceled. This team had played in the fall, and so to be able to be here today for his first game, I just was not going to miss it. It was important to me to be here, and not just for support, but just to make sure he knew that what I have told him in the past and how much I think this means, that it means that much to me, and to support him and be here was everything.
Sure thing.
A lot of us feel like we know Coach Bryant because of his career, social media, but you know him.
Yeah.
What can the Tiger fans expect out of your friend Deion Sanders, our Coach Bryant?
Well, I think he's a tireless worker. This is really important to him, as it should be. And so they're going to get everything he has. And I'm excited about the program. Just there's I was talking about it with some other friends of ours, teammates and stuff. And, here's a guy who hasn't played in a long time. I haven't played in a long time. But of those players, he still has gained his relevance with the current players. I mean, they don't just know him as a broadcaster or someone who's on television. They know Deion as a player. Mm-hmm. And there's not many players that have been out of the game as long as we have that current players feel that towards. And so he's been able to remain connected with the younger generation. And I think it gives him a leg up in some of the areas of recruiting. I think he brings a credibility to this town that a lot of people just wouldn't simply be able to bring, and I'm excited for him. I really am. I think he's going to do a great job, and of course it all kicks off here this afternoon.
You guys had a big hug out there. Was it a surprise? Did he know you were coming?
He did not. No, I wanted to surprise him, and it was special.
Well, we won't hold you up. We thank you for stopping by Tiger Talk with 1400 Club. I mean, you look great. You look like you still throw a few passes.
Well, a few. I could throw a few. Just couldn't take a few hits. That's the problem.
Sure thing.
We appreciate your time,
Thank
man.
you, guys. Thank you, guys. You bet. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man, tremendous year one. That was our first interview with the great three-time Super Bowl champion Troy Aikman of the Dallas Cowboys. That was a special moment.
Hey, man, and shout out to Troy Aikman. Since that time, Chuck, I know how big of a carb watcher you are. Troy has come out with his own beer called 8, just the number 8. And he is out there to compete with those other beers that offer low carbs. And so, Chuck, while you're out there shopping, man, knock it back a long neck. Think about your first get, man, Troy Aikman, and buy number 8.
Number 8, how about that?
And
I tell you,
it can be a paid endorsement, so we're gonna make sure.
I was about to say, make sure.
And 8 beer can be, and I will drink 8 on the air, Troy. I promise you, I will.
There you go. I tell you what, Neil, we're right up against tip-off. Our Jackson State women getting ready to take on the Alcorn State Lady Braves, of course. You can catch that on the Jackson State Sports Network. Rob J bringing you all the action from down there on the reservation, the Davy L. Whitney complex. Looking forward to it, man. Any final words before we get out of here?
Hey, any final words, or just simply this? I am now in the student section, which gets pretty rambunctious right here behind the visiting bench. So hopefully we have some students that made that short drive down to Lorman and give our team some energy. I'm going to go out there and say Lady Tigers by 21. Tigers win by 7.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I will take our Lady Tigers 25 and give them in +5. I like it.
21-7.
We got you.
We got you. All
well,
right.
Hey,
Loser
of course.
by Sally Mookies.
Why not? Loser by Sally Mookies. Speaking of which, man, I got to get a little lunch. Got a 1:40 tea time. Gonna meet with a couple guys on and get out of here, man.
Well, let's do it, man. This is going to wrap us up from the AAC. Again, the Tigers and Lady Tigers are down in Norman, kicking off the end of February road sweep. So playing Alcorn today, then go over to Texas for Prairie View and Texas Southern. But get ready, Tiger fans, to come back here to the AAC Thursday night, March 3rd versus UAPB. And then alumni 5th. Robinson has some special treats for the alumni who come out for that final home game of the regular season, Saturday, March 5th against Mississippi Valley. Lindsey Hunter will be sitting right there, Chuck, and we're going to give him the absolute business.
The absolute business. Looking forward to it. I tell you what, for Bishop and Neely here on the Black College Sports Network, it is the pregame show, and we will see you from Houston as we preview the Jackson State Tigers and the Texas Southern Tigers. Until next time, we're out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for all those who's listening and watching it from around the world. And we are now live from the corner of Dalton and Lynch Street. It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the Pregame with your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready, because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the Pregame.